So now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be slip stitching these squares together to get this front panel. So we're going to be doing the slip stitching here and here, and then we're going to be doing these rows which are going to get us like the top of the bag. So I've organised my granny squares so that my favourite 2 out of the 4 are at the top, so this is the top of mine, and then these are the bottom ones. And then I've put the tails from the granny squares facing in on each other. So all that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to fold it over like this. Fold them over like that. So both of the outside squares, outside faces of the granny square that you want to show in the bag, you want them to be facing each other. So these both are obviously the outside faces. So the inside ones, we want them to be on the outside now. And so we're going to start with this one. So let's put that one to the side. And basically we're going to start by slip stitching this length bit here. So we're going to have to slip stitch this together, and then we're going to join it by slip stitching that together. So let's start with this square first. So we're going to have this, and what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to insert your hook into that chain 1. So if you can see the chain 1 in the squares, so you're going to want to insert your hook into that chain 1. And you're going to want to insert it into both chain 1s, so that your hook is like that. Get your wool. I'm using mustard, the same colour that I used for the outside, so it just blends in. You're going to want to hook it and then pull it through. And now you can just chain 1, and that's going to act as your first slip stitch. So what you're going to be slip stitching in, like how you're going to be slip stitching is you're going to have the square that's facing you, and you're going to have the first stitch, and there's like V there, and you're going to want to go into the first stitch of the V, so the V line that's closest to you, and in the granny square behind that you're going to want to go into the last V stitch. So you're not going under both the V's or both the lines that make up this one V stitch. You're going to be going into the closest one and then the furthest one away, and you're going to want to slip stitch into those, and you're going to do this throughout. So once again, in this stitch I'm not going through the whole stitch, I'm going through the front loop of the V on the front granny square, and the back granny square I'm going into the back loop of the V. So way to just remember this easily is that front granny square, front loop, back granny square, back loop. And this is just going to make it so that you can see the slip stitching less, so it just looks a little bit neater. And you're just going to want to do that throughout this whole granny square. Now we've done the last stitch on the slip stitch of this, you're going to want to slip stitch them like the first chains together. So just slip stitch them together. And then now it's time to grab the other 2 granny squares. So now that we've slip stitched this part, we're going to want to slip stitch this part, and we can join it on. So now we're going to join this on, and we're going to slip stitch the first chain 1s here on this square. So there's a chain 2, we go into that chain 1, and that one there, and we're going to slip stitch that together. That's going to kind of like pull this all together. So now we're joining up these 2 squares together. So just slip stitch it like that, make it nice and tight. So now they're together, and then we can carry on doing the same thing. slip stitching into the front loop of the first stitch on the first granny square, and then into the back loop of the back granny square. And you're just going to do that to the end, and then slip stitch into the first chain, and then you can cut your wool. So now we're at the chains. I'm going to go into one of the chains to finish, slip stitch that, chain one to secure, and then we can cut our wool. And now when we open that out, that's what that looks like. Go around. So now we've done our first slip stitch. So if I just organise mine again, so it's the way I want it to be. That's the top, that's the bottom, and now we're going to do the same thing that we did here vertically. We're going to do it horizontally. So we're going to do it here, and we're going to slip stitch them together. So we're just going to fold it like that. Once again, now we have the outsides, then we have the insides of the granny square facing outwards, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to slip stitch across here now. So across here we're slip stitching and doing the same thing with the going into the granny squares facing you, like that's in the front. We're going to go into the front loop for that, of that stitch, and then in the back granny square going into the back loop. So yeah, let's slip stitch that. And now that's done. So now I just wanted to show you what doing it, slip stitching into the front loop of the front granny square and the back loop of the back granny square did. If you look, these are the V's that we didn't go into, and it kind of just like covers the whole bit. So underneath, like if you look here, that's where the slip stitching is. So if you flip it over to the other side, like you can't see this because it's being covered by the other V's of the stitches. So that's basically what it does, just to let you know, and it just looks a little bit neater. So yeah. So now we're going to be making this like little top row over the granny squares, and all you have to do for this is do 4 rows of half double crochet. So that's all I'm going to do, doing it into the stitches, just 4 rows of half double crochet. So you want to insert your wool, and I started mine like with the granny squares facing me, so the top of the granny squares facing me. And all you're going to want to do is insert it into the chain 1, pull up a loop, chain 1, and then you can just start doing the half double crochets, and you're just going to do 4 rows of that. So now we're going to be making the strap for the bag. So to start making the strap, you want to start off by making a slip knot, like so, and you want to insert your hook in it. Then you're going to chain 16. And now we're going to go along that chain and we're going to work in half double crochets. Now once you've finished that row, you're going to want to chain 1, and you're going to want to repeat this process of just doing half double crochet stitches, and you're going to have 15 stitches because the first stitch is skipped because it's around the hook. So you just keep going across doing your rows of 15 half double crochets with a chain 1 to start your new row. Keep doing this until you reach the desired length of the strap. So I'll meet you back in once I've reached my desired length and once I've finished the strap. So I've been doing my strap and currently it's almost at 60 inches if you have a look. So I'm going to continue doing mine till I get to 60 inches. So I'm going to do another 5 or 6 rows and then I'm going to just slip stitch it together so I get like a loop, and that's the end of the strap. So now I've slip stitched the strap together, so as you can see it was done here, so that's done now. And now I have to attach the strap to the bag, to the 2 panels. So it's going to be like this once I slip stitch. So before I do that, I'm going to work out where I want it to be based on like this slip stitch here. Also I changed the wool and they're the same, but I don't know if you can see on the camera, but this is slightly lighter and thicker than this, even though they're the same type of wool, it just came out different. So I want to kind of organize that so it's not too patchy and you can't see as much. But I need to put my stitch markers, here they are, my stitch markers all the way around here, and I'm gonna come back in to show you when I've done that, and then obviously I'm gonna start slip stitching all the way through. So I've put the stitch markers in now, so it's kind of just going around like that, and now all I'm gonna do is slip stitches together, and then I'll meet you back in once I've done that. So now I have slip stitched around to connect this panel to the strap, and now I'm basically just going to do the same thing, flip it once again out, inside out? Yeah, inside out, and then flip it like this, so now I have the right face of the panel facing me, and then get my second panel, here it is, put once again inside out so that the good side of the panel is facing the other good side of the panel, and then put my stitch markers in all the way around and slip stitch, and then the bag will be finished. So So now I have finished slip stitching, and this is what the bag looks like. This is the inside of the bag, and as you can see there's all these loose ends, so I'm almost finished doing this bag. All that's left to do now is I'm just going to weave in some ends, cut off some of the ties, and then it will be finished, and I'll show you the results, and then after we finish this we can move on to the matching pouch. So this is the final result of the bag, and I'm very happy with it. I really like the colour scheme I chose, the size of the bag and the strap length. When I was doing the strap I was wondering if it was going to be too long or too short, but it ended up working out. I also added a clip to the front just to make sure the bag would close properly. But yeah, overall it was a win for me. I really like it, and it was a gift for my mom and she also really liked it, so that made me really happy. So thanks for watching this video. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Ciao!